And they're donating every bite of food that they are handing out that day.
Yeah.
They're coming in with great hearts for this community, knowing what a difference they are making.
Saturday Omaha.
Eat this. This is Dave with Saturday Omaha, and we are here on kind of a special edition, if you will, because coming up very soon, April the 16th, which as of the release of this podcast will be this coming Sunday, because the 26th annual Art and Soup event held by the Visiting Nurses Association and Open Door Mission will be happening. But I would give you some details, except it's way more important that my wonderful guests that I have here, which is Carole Patrick of the Visiting Nurses Association. Hello, Carole. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm very well, thanks.
Excellent. And I also have Chef Vahlenkamp here of the Open Door Mission, who's head chef there. And so we are here to talk about this event. This was a new thing for me to learn about, and there was a ask. It's like, hey, can we talk about this on our show? You bet you can, because we like to connect with food. I love to connect with people, and food is kind of that vehicle quite often. So, Carole and Ken, maybe Carole kind of start off with, let me know a little bit of the history behind this event, because 26 years has been going on for a while. So tell me a little bit about this.
Right. Thank you so much. So Visiting Nurse Association, we've been doing this event for 26 years now. Art and Soup is exactly what it's all about.
Awesome.
And I'm going to tell you in more detail there in just a moment, but the most important thing is what we do with that money that we raise. And this entire event is about keeping our nurses in every homeless shelter, every domestic violence shelter, and every group maternity home in both Omaha and Council Bluffs.
Wow.
We have been in all those places for close to 20 years.
Yeah.
And we partner then with groups like Open Door Mission, to make those services happen. So we thought we didn't just want any old fundraiser. It's not your daddy's, nonprofit fundraiser. So
right.
So there's no tables for 10. There's no raise the paddle. There's no speeches. It's a festival of sorts.
Oh, goodness,
it really
nice.
is. And so what you're going to do is you're going to enter Omaha Design Center. That's where we're going to be, out on Cummings Street there.
Yes.
And you enter, and we have 20 local restaurants that are going to be there, and they provide all of the food. And there's a competition among them for soups. We have both professional chefs who are judging those soups and People's Choice Awards that go there. But you get to go around and you get to eat as much soup as you want. And then on the inner part is an art festival.
Oh, goodness.
It's an indoor art festival, and we have 35 amazing artists who are going to be there, and each one of them has committed at least 50% of their sales to this cause.
Wow.
Okay, so you get to eat, walk around, buy art, have a great time. And if you don't mind me mentioning, because I know some people are going to recognize both restaurants.
Oh my goodness! I saw the list
and,
here.
Artists, but Biaggi's, right? Big Mamas.
Yeah, Big Mamas. I saw,
Herbe Sainte.
No More Empty. Oh, I didn't see Herbe Sainte.
La Voltaire.
Ono Pinay Kitchen, which I love.
Ono Pinay is amazing.
Yeah, great Hawaiian
Shucks,
Filipino spot.
Right? Sternella's going to be there. Matt Mosier has been there almost 5 years running. He missed us last year, but Matt is back, and he's going to be in competition with you, Ken, for that stock pot. And upstream is there. Talus, a relatively new restaurant here in town, is there. And then just to mention a few of the artists, because they really are amazing. John Dennison. A lot of folks love John Dennison's sculpture. Tim Guthrie is there. Amazing painter. Jeff Katurba. Who used to,
World Herald, right?
Used to be with the World Herald. Jeff is going to be there with some of his stuff. Margie Magnuson, who does jewelry. Kurt Norman, people know. Thurman Statham, who is an internationally known artist based out of Omaha. And Thurman's going to be there.
Awesome.
So just a lot of folks that people will recognize. And as I said, it's a fun and festive atmosphere. But we would love for folks to join us there. And then you can go around and talk to the chefs. Ken's going to be there, and he'll be talking to folks.
Yeah, speaking of Ken, so Ken, how did you get involved in this event, and what are you contributing? We talked a little bit off mic right before this about the soup that you're contributing. But yeah, tell me a little bit, how'd you get involved? What are you doing, and what are you cooking?
Oh, well, so I got involved last year. Was my first year doing the soup event. I'm employed at the Open Door Mission. I'm the hospitality director down there, and they asked me if I wanted to participate in the event. And, and I was like, sure. And so that just kind of got my foot in the door with VNA, and I had a really good time last year, meeting a lot of people, kind of shedding some light on what we do down at the Open Door Mission a little bit, and then just helping to spread awareness about the about our homeless community in Omaha, which is, prior to being at the Open Door Mission, I really personally was unaware, of the problem that we have with homelessness, and all the people in our community that are just, hungry, and hurting and in need. So it was really awesome to be able to kind of showcase a little bit of what I can do as far as soup wise, but also just to be able to just shed some light on just our mission to feed the homeless around our community, to the people who went to the VNA and who supported the VNA last year. So
absolutely, and we had discussed a little bit just kind of as we were getting to know each other before the microphones started doing their thing here. But we were kind of talking about that the food is one of those basic. We brought up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and the fact that food and shelter and sustenance and those things are kind of the base level things that you need. So kind of tell me a bit about that. It's pretty wonderful as a chef anywhere that you're nourishing people with, things that literally keep them functioning, keeping them happy. And how do you feel that your contributions there, or kind of your take on how your hard work in the kitchen then lends itself to allowing people to maybe do some other things in life and seek their goals and happiness?
Absolutely. So at the Open Door Mission, we have a number of just different kind of life-changing ministries. We have a chemical dependency program that the gentlemen who are experiencing addictions can kind of go through and just kind of and of course it's faith-based, and completely free of charge. And that a lot of times when people are going into like these kind of rehab facilities or whatever, you're looking at a hefty bill towards the end of a month, $6,000 a month kind of thing, and so we have licensed counselors and staff, and we just are able to just kind of provide them with that, and then and one of the ways we do that is through food. There's something really just morale boosting.
Absolutely.
When it comes to knowing that, once you've been on the street or you've gone through some kind of hardship to where you're at base level, and to know that, at least I don't have to worry about eating today.
Right.
Right. And at least I don't have to worry about having a shower, or at least I don't have to worry about not sleeping on the street. You know what I mean?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So we kind of believe that. Actually, we do believe that if you have those basic needs met, you are full, you have a place to sleep, you're getting help with some issues that you may be having, whether it be chemical dependency or mental health issues.
Yeah.
That if you have a full belly, place to sleep, that you're more inclined to work on those things: spiritual deficiencies, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, mental illness.
Absolutely. Well, and the other thing that I love is you being a chef too. It's like the food that you're bringing to these folks being chef driven is really cool, because it's a little different than just here's the prepackaged whatever. You're actually putting a chef's hand and your knife skills to use, and balance of ingredients and things to really provide something that is truly satisfying, instead of just bare sustenance. It's something a level above that, and probably a lot more heart putting in that than maybe some industrialized produced thing. So
absolutely, and there's a lot of things that go into play in that actually at the Open Door Mission, which I find astounding. Like because. So, I mean, you wouldn't think it, being the type of establishment that we are, we're a shelter, and we hope that we would have things like lobster tails, and we would have things like, ribeye steaks and things like that on our menu or what we serve.
Yeah.
But what's really awesome about that is that because we are a shelter and we have a large portion of our food that comes through the door is donated.
Sure.
So. Because of that, we don't really have a set menu, and so kind of my day is to go in the morning and kind of figure out this is what we have on hand.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, for the most part, I know what I have as far as proteins because we got a freezer full of proteins. It's all been donated, but anything beyond that really is But looking through our donations and looking through what product needs to be used first and things along those lines to be able to make nutritious meals for all of our shelter guests and people who live on our campus. Daily is kind of a blessing actually, that knowing that the people in our community who are donating these things to us just have a heart for those homeless and those who are in need.
Absolutely.
Dave, it's kind of like, these cool cooking shows where they give you ingredients and they say make whatever.
Yeah.
Ken allowed me and a couple of my team members to come into his kitchen a couple of weeks ago, and just to see, there's all this food that's been donated, and Ken is literally looking at all of this and going, okay, how am I going to put this together, and what do we get to cook? And it's a great problem to have because folks have been so gracious in donating. But it's also that creativity you get as a chef, to make that happen. But if you don't mind, Ken, you didn't. This was not a situation where you came in and interviewed just to be the chef at Open Door Mission. You came there through other means.
Right, I did actually. So. When I came to the Open Door Mission, I didn't come as an applicant for the job. I came as a broken individual through the front doors. It has a double meaning for me to be able to cook food for these people who are in need because I was once that person.
Oh my goodness!
So, a little bit about that is after a really just unpleasant and unexpected divorce, I really didn't know really how to handle that very well.
Yeah,
and so. I didn't handle that the right way. I started using chemicals, doing drugs, anything that I can do to make myself feel better.
Sure.
And it took me to a really, really low place. I totally just turned my back on everything that was important to me. Namely family. Mm-hmm. I have 3 sons. And then it just took me to just this really, really low place, and eventually it caught up with me. After many years of chemical abuse, I ended up having to do some jail time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because all these chemicals and things that I'd be using to just kind of mask these emotions that I was having that I wasn't really equipped to or ready to even deal with.
Yeah.
Came just full force at me, 1,000 miles an hour because they don't let you have drugs in jail.
Right.
And so, and so I spent the better part of 7 months just kind of stewing on how much of a failure I am to my family, and then just this depression kicked in, and
sure.
And so when I ended up getting out of jail, all the friends that I thought I had and all my family that I thought would support me, I had burnt those bridges, and so when I got out of jail there, for the first time in my life, I really had no plan, nor did I have a place to go even.
Right.
So this was November of 2020, and so it was cold, and this was, of course, full swing COVID.
I was going to say, what a time.
Yeah, full swing COVID when I was released, and so I went around to a couple of shelters in the area, and, they weren't accepting people off the streets because of COVID. Right. And so I ended up, spending, 2 or 3 days out in the cold in an alley, and I just remember, laying there in between this, tree and a fence with a cardboard box over me thinking, I'm going to die out here if I don't figure something out, And then I was looking around me and just looking at all the people out there who are choosing to live this life and how equipped they are, and how, I was just thinking, man, this is actually kind of amazing that these people choose to live this way and are doing it, because I clearly didn't have the skill to.
Right.
And so, man, it was cold.
Yeah.
And I didn't know where the open door mission was. I just knew that it was by the airport. So, quite literally, the only thing I had was the clothes on my back, and I just started walking. I started following, descending airplanes. And, God works in crazy ways, because literally the open door mission was 3 miles from where I was staying. It wasn't really a long walk.
Sure.
But I ended up showing up on the open door mission doorstep, and you know what? They were accepting, and so I was able to get into the open door mission, and for the first time in a while, I had a hot shower.
Nice. Oh, I bet that was amazing.
I had a bed to sleep on that wasn't 2 inches thick. You know what I mean? And then and I got to eat as much food as I wanted to.
Oh my goodness!
And it was hot, and it was good, and it was truly a blessing. So
wow.
And then ultimately, I started thinking that it was probably about time I start to do something about my life. Instead of feeling sorry for myself, which is basically the cause of a lot of my issues, was just, why is this happening to me? I'm such a good person,
Sure.
Just started focusing on how or what steps I needed to do to start fixing the problem.
Yeah.
So I heard about the New Life Recovery Program, and that is our chemical dependency program at the Open Door Mission. And I'm just like, sure, I'm gonna give it a shot, because it sounds like the logical way to go about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because prior to this, I had no desire to stop doing drugs.
Sure.
And I had no desire to feel the way that I had been feeling, because once the drugs took over and then those emotions went away, man, I was at peace.
Sure.
And I did, and so I was the worst kind of drug addict, because I didn't want to stop, and until I was forced to. But then the light bulb, once sober thinking started kicking in, the light bulb was there, and it's like, man, what am I missing out on? And more than that, what are my children missing out on?
Certainly.
I made certain promises, and I didn't fulfill those, and there was a certain level of guilt and things involved with that.
Sure.
So I needed to start. And by about this time, it had been a year and a half since I've seen my kids.
Yeah.
Even seen them, and I hadn't talked to them. And so started doing the program, and then working through some stuff.
Yeah.
And then the realization, knowing that I can't do it on my own.
Yeah.
And so, a large part of this story is how God changes lives, and it was very, very evident in my situation.
Wow.
Because my whole life, I've always been a control freak, just like, I'm going to do things my way, and then that's never really worked out so well. When I drive the bus, wheels fall off, and crashes occur, and people get hurt. So
yeah,
just turning over my entire will to look, God, work it out.
Yeah.
And then having faith in that, and then so being the New Life Recovery Program being what it is, it doesn't cost our guys any money to do that. It's a ministry that we have, and they just kind of ask that you kind of do some things around campus, so you
Sure.
go and some would do some maintenance things and whatnot. I had the privilege of going into the kitchen. And
oh, nice.
Did they know you had experience at that time?
No, they didn't. And I was still very quiet. I really was still in the place in my life where I was so beat down, and I beat myself down so much that I didn't feel like I had anything to offer anybody. So
yeah.
I was still very introverted, still very quiet, not so much an issue now. A lot of people would say.
And you had been a chef prior to that, right?
My whole life I've been a chef.
Right, yeah.
Wow.
So when I was in there working in the kitchen, it was apparently noticeable that through the way I was even doing things or whatever, that I knew what I was doing. So they asked me if I had kitchen experience, and I'm like, kind of a little bit.
It's like, sir, we saw your knife cuts, and you clearly are very qualified for this job.
Yeah. So, but I was still in the program, and so the huge blessing is that instead of doing other job assignments around the campus every day, I was able to go into the kitchen for 4 hours during my allotted time.
How cool is that right? Lined up? Wow.
And so truly what it was is honestly a playground for me, because I was getting out of my head for a little bit, a much needed vacation there. And I was able to focus on things and do some things, and things that I haven't done in quite some time, because I was out for years doing dope, you know, and so many blessings, man. I graduated the Open Door Mission New Life Recovery Program in April of 2021.
Okay.
And I was kind of, had a job waiting for me, man.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
And so I started working, and then ever since then, man, there's been nothing but blessings. I have my own place now. You know what I mean? It's like I'm doing adult things finally. You know what I mean? After such a long time of just negating the whole adult thing, I got a vehicle. You know what I mean? I got money in the bank, and blessings, man, is that I see my kids every weekend, and the blessing is that God has laid it upon their heart to want to see me. Yes, I get to see them. That's a blessing, but the fact that they want to see me is huge.
All right, so Visiting Nurse Association Art and Soup coming up on April 16th, 2 to 5 p.m., 1502 Cumming Street. Back to the show.
I've worked restaurants my whole life.
Yeah.
And so, I know that job very well. But I have to say that the Open Door Mission and the opportunity they provide for me is by far the most rewarding job I ever had.
Sure.
And hopefully the most rewarding job I will ever have. I'm not planning on going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah.
Only because, yes, I get to go in and be creative, which is awesome, but I get to see how God works in these people's who are hurting lives every single day.
Sure.
And then
and be a witness to the fact that you can overcome it, right?
Absolutely.
That's a cool
if anything,
thing too.
Yeah. If anything, because it's like, I know where you're at. I know what you're going through, right? And hopefully I know what you can accomplish, because you can do anything that you put your mind to, anything that, if you really want it, you know what I mean? And so every day I get to work with gentlemen who are going through the New Life Recovery Program, trying to change their lives from the beginning stages of their recovery. And I get to tease them, you know what I mean, and get to know them and get on a personal level.
You bet.
And also, at the same time, just kind of be a walking testimony. Look what God can do.
Yeah.
Look what God can do if you want Him to, you know. And then seeing successes, and from day one when they walk into the program to day 120 when they leave, and just me sitting back and being like, man, look at the difference, and being a part of that, and then being a part of something that's much bigger than myself is huge.
Right. Well, and my goodness, and like you said, being able to contribute to the program and the people that helped you get where you are now has to be very satisfying. And now we're talking about this event, this Art and Soup, and I kind of wanted to send it back to you, Carole, to kind of this is so cool that all these things are coming together to continue the good cycle, the cycle of help, the cycle of outreach, of feeding, of the nurses assisting where they can. And so the fundraising and events and activities that are happening, Carole, can you kind of tell me a little bit, about where that help, that uplift, how does the outreach happen, and kind of tell me a little bit about that too.
Well, we have some amazing folks who helped me put this event together, and one of them is Brian O'Malley over at Metro Culinary Institute.
Wonderful gentleman, absolutely.
Gosh, I adore that man, and I think Brian knows the vast majority of chefs out in the community, and so he's the one who does the outreach and shares the mission, of this entire fundraiser.
Yeah,
and I love, not everybody has the intimate story that Ken has, but every restaurant that is there because they want to help us put nurses in homeless shelters.
That's wonderful.
And they're donating every bite of food that they are handing out that day.
Yeah.
They're coming in with great hearts for this community, knowing what a difference they are making. And every year, and I've gotten to know Matt Mosier again over the years from Stirnella there. Every year, Matt wants to be there because he knows it makes a difference in the community, and it's a give back.
Absolutely.
Opportunity there. And so we've got this great core of folks, not only the restaurants, but and the artists, who help to make this happen. And then a community who comes in and goes, wow, look at that list of restaurants, And so there's this chance to go in. You get to talk to the chefs. The chefs are there. And you can ask what Ken put in his creamy...
I think it was a coconut curry with sauce.
Creamy coconut curry soup.
Yeah.
Right?
This year I'm going to make a creamy coconut curry with sausage.
Right. And so you can ask him how he did that. And you can ask Big Mama's, what they put in their soup. And then it entices you to go visit these restaurants, because you've had an opportunity for those intimate conversations and for the fun and the festivity, of that day. And so we hope then it's a hand back out to these restaurants in the community. We want to be able to help them during COVID. We said, after COVID, because we didn't have the event during COVID.
Right.
We didn't want to have what we called a super spreader, SOUP, right?
Oh dear.
We didn't want to do that. But after COVID was over, we really asked folks, it's like, come out. We need you to support the restaurants. We need you to support the artists who have been hurting. And so it's just this lovely conglomeration of folks who are coming together. We usually have about 1,000 people pass through.
Wow.
On the day. And the great thing is, you don't have to stay the whole time. You walk through, you do what you want to, you go. We have valet parking. We have Kiewit Corporation across the street opens up their parking lot.
Oh, great.
For us to use, or you can drive right up front and somebody will park it for you. We try to make it as convenient as possible. So then folks can just come in and join the festival. And if you love cooking, if you love food, you don't always get the opportunity to talk to the folks who are in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
is a chance to do that.
Well, and that's so neat because, not only are the chefs and everyone connecting with food and art and those things, but, a lot of times, the chef is back in the kitchen working, doing those things. And one of the things that I've experienced is most people that are in the service and hospitality industry really looking for the smile on the person's face when they take that bite of soup or whatever it is and just maybe stare wistfully in the distance or just look at that spoon and go, oh my gosh, I just ate this and this is wonderful. And so in this case, you're right there next to the chefs. You can talk to the chefs and experience that food. And conversely, the folks providing the food are seeing those eyes light up and those smiles on faces and those things. And when you're talking about Stirnella and Ono Pinay, and I think you said Herbe Sainte in there.
Voltaire. I mean, yeah.
These are
Awesome
some
places.
heavy hitter, delicious places in town. And my experience with all the restaurant community in Omaha is most of these chefs and servers and everyone, man, they'll give you their shirt off their back, literally, if they need to, and just providing. And that's so cool that there's just this, confluence of talent and want to help and bring people up, whether, that be our homeless community or anyone, and just helping them out. It's just awesome. It's so cool. It's so cool.
It is just a truly a fun event, and I should mention. So tickets are $50.
Okay.
But you come in, and that's that. If you decide to buy any art, then again, 50% of it goes to us too. But you go around and you can make as many rounds as you want. My son-in-law, who looks like he plays professional football, fills up on all the soup every year. So don't worry about being hungry, at all. So go in there and fill up, but enjoy the atmosphere, browse the art, again, talk to the artists. You can get tickets by going to VNA Today /Art and Soup.
Art and Soup, okay.
Yeah. So you just go on there and click, and I would ask too. We know this is coming right up on the event, and if you can't be there, but you feel it in your heart, if you've got $20 to give toward the cause, if you got a little something that you can give toward this particular cause, knowing
anything helps there.
Yeah, it makes a big difference there too, and we truly appreciate that. But the experience itself, as we relate back, we're talking on Saturday here, right? So we want to relate back to food, and the food experience is a really fun time.
Yeah, and
at
with
this event.
I mean, I think we rattled off 8 or 10 different restaurants there, etc. So with $50, you get to help out, and you can try all of the soups that are there. Is that what I heard?
All of them, and once, twice, 3 times.
So
whatever you want.
Okay, so you got 10 there. So that's what.
So we got 20 restaurants.
There's
20 restaurants. So you make your way around, and then you go again because you're trying to decide who your People's Choice vote is.
Oh my
So you might go around again.
Well, and $50 is a pittance to try 20 restaurants all in one place. That's the equivalent of one of our local awesome spots, Au Courant, has a tasting menu, right? So this is a soup tasting menu at a very reasonable price. With, in addition to that, letting your money go help some folks out. What a cool deal!
And I want to throw out from the cooking experience side also. Yeah. We've got a couple of things that are being part of a silent auction that day. Metro Culinary Institute is doing some cooking classes.
Oh, hello!
That you can bid on, and one of the chefs at No More Empty Pots is doing an African food experience where you can go in and help him cook that in the kitchen. And
how cool.
next year we might have to think about you doing something like that, Ken. Having a fun class within the Open Door Mission.
I love it. And it's interesting because Ono Pinay, one of the restaurants that's going to be there, I actually was fortunate enough to attend. They did a lumpia wrapping class, Filipino-style egg roll. And it was so fun to learn from the experts. Yeah. And so to do that, to be able to learn how to, cook African, maybe some jollof rice. I love jollof rice. And then, and all those things with Metro, I mean, my goodness, Brian O'Malley and that crew have turned out some absolutely incredible chefs. In fact, I do believe Jess and Paul Urban of Block 16, who are James Beard nominated chefs, kind of came through that school too.
Came through that school, they sure did.
So very, very cool. So if you have a chance to go, learn with those folks.
And Brian will be there, by the way. Brian is the head judge.
Oh, is he now?
He is.
He has been on the show.
Yes, he is. He is the one who judges the soups. And I got, Ken, you told me a couple weeks ago that you haven't lost a soup competition before.
Oh,
so you're in it to win it again, right?
Well, I mean, I didn't say I haven't lost. I've been in several just competitions, and never really fared anything south of second place, and it was kind of humbling last year, But then again, I did come with tomato soup, so I'm going to kick up my game a little bit this year.
So look at him with his coconut curry,
that's
fancy
awesome.
Pants soup. That's awesome. I can't wait to try it.
So.
I love it. All sorts of flavors of many different types, be they art, be they food, and a lot of contributors there. And there's a book out there that I enjoyed reading called Soul of a Chef. And the things that we're talking about here, the contributions to that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, feeding of the human soul through food, through help from the visiting nurses, and Ken, you telling your story there too, such a humbling thing to realize that sometimes you can't do it yourself, that you need some help, and maybe you need a nurse, maybe you need a chef, maybe you need both. And to realize that it's okay to reach out for help, to seek that help, and how beautiful that there are people out there, nurses, chefs, and many others who are ready to help you, and see that happen. And that's one of the things where I'm glad, and maybe this show in a small part, getting that knowledge out there and maybe inspiring somebody to either help contribute, or maybe if they're listening to this somewhere and maybe they need some help, or they're stuck in a spot that they don't think that they can get out of, that maybe they feel they don't deserve help, they don't know how to get help, or they feel defeated, that maybe this is an opportunity to hear your voices and reach out and say, you know what, I do need help, because there's a lot of people out there. And in the service hospitality industry, there are some significant substance abuse challenges, and it's a hard life there, in addition to, of course, many other professions and life situations that are just challenging as human beings. I guess to lighten it up a little bit, adulting is hard.
Adulting is hard.
And it's okay to ask others for help. And so it's just what a wonderful thing to do from many, many aspects.
And could I, if you don't mind me adding, just these nurses that are in the shelters, our nurses, these women are angels. They truly, not everyone could do this. Could do the work that they do. And, they see folks coming in off the streets who have been eating out of dumpsters, who have intestinal issues, because of that, or who haven't been eating at all. Yeah. If you're not aware, folks who are listening, here in Omaha, 60% of people in our local shelters have mental health issues. And so then you're talking mental and physical health.
Goodness gracious.
Colliding.
Yeah.
And but for the grace of God, because there's folks in our shelters here locally who had to make a choice between paying their rent or eating, between paying their rent and having medication.
Yeah.
And they give up the mental health medication, and then they spiral out and they end up losing their home anyway.
Yeah.
And then they're on the street, and then they go in, and our shelters here are fantastic organizations.
Yeah.
But the nurses who come in, and we work hand in hand with the shelter staff to do everything we can to transition folks back out.
That's
again.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wonderful. So our event is coming up here as of this conversation here this Sunday. So, right. And 2 to 5, we said, right?
2 to 5 p.m., Omaha Design Center.
Omaha Design Center. And are there any, so we had the web address out there. What was that one more time if people need to find out where to buy tickets?
It's VNAtoday.org/art and soup.
Perfect. And then are there any social media like Facebook or Instagram that you know that folks can find too?
If you look at for VNA on Facebook and Instagram, you'll see all sorts of great information there. And you'll see a great video with Ken that we recorded in his kitchen.
Oh, hello.
So you want to go on there and take a look.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely, you may.
So with just the staggering percentage of how many people in our community who live in poverty, chances are, if you're listening to this show, you might know somebody who is living that way, or is going through hardship, or you might know 3 people, or you might know 5 people. So just wanted to say that what I think is really neat is that you, if you are struggling, if you're having a hard time putting a meal on your table, if you have children who are just, we have a goal, this is stomp out hunger. And so because of that, at the Open Door Mission, we don't only feed those people living on our campus. We are open to the public. So any day of the week at, let's see, so it's 11:30 in the morning, we serve lunch. At 5:30 in the evening, we serve dinner. If you are struggling, if you are hungry, if you are in need to just be loved on, come on down to the Open Door Mission, the Garland Thompson Men's Center. Come through the door. We'll love on you all day long, and we'll feed you
great
too.
food.
And
great
we'll feed
food. Yeah.
That's wonderful, and I didn't know that. I've definitely donated to the Open Door Mission because your furniture and et cetera pickup are easy peasy to do, and it's always nice to be able to help somebody out that donate a bed or a TV or whatever, and somebody's going to get some good use out of that, or monetary contributions, or if you go to Art and Soup and donate that it's going to help another fellow human being, which is wonderful. But I didn't know that that's wonderful if somebody's just hungry that they can come in and get some help there, and that's a wonderful thing.
I thought it was pretty neat too, actually.
Yeah, we should mention the other shelters where the nurses nurses are. We've been talking because we have the honor of having Ken with us, but
yes.
Stephen Center Shelter.
Oh, sure.
Sienna Francis House.
Okay.
And then in Council Bluffs, we've got Mom's Place, Joshua House. Yes. So all of the and then as I mentioned, the other shelters around town, the group maternity homes and the domestic violence shelters.
Wonderful. Yeah. Roughly how many? I mean, I don't know how many shelters and things are the VNA supporting.
There are about 10 different shelters when you include domestic violence, and of course, most of those the location is unknown.
Makes sense.
We keep that, but our nurses are in there. Helping folks on a regular basis.
That's wonderful, and I'm sure you need a decent amount of staff to staff up for multiple locations, and so that makes sense, and
absolutely.
that's wonderful that that those nurses are contributing. Nurses are they are absolute angels. Having some family situations where been in hospitals and other situations and things, and just nurses are lights out the best because they really make things happen day to day, and so they're awesome.
Micah House. I don't want to forget Micah House either. Yeah. Micah House also in Council Bluffs.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Oh, do I need to wear a tuxedo to this event?
You do not.
Oh, goodness.
It is casual.
Wonderful.
It is casual, so come in whatever makes you comfortable.
That's cool. That's awesome.
It's going to be a nice day. It's going to be a little cooler.
Yeah.
And we're going to have a lot of fun.
Perfect.
Please come join us.
All right. So we've got free parking. We've got art. You can get valet parking. That's next level. We have chef-driven food from awesome local restaurants, and everything going to a cause to help your fellow human through food, through art, and all of these things. It just sounds like a good confluence of help and wonderfulness. So
it means a lot for you to help us spread the word about it.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, Ken and Carole and Ken, thank you both so much for representing the Visiting Nurses Association and Open Door Mission through food, through health and help, and connecting through food and making it beautiful. So with that, then I think we'll end it there. So if you hear this, go check that out. And this is Dave with Saturday Omaha. And until we eat again, stay hungry. Bye. All right, so we're going to wrap it up on the show. This is the Visiting Nurse Association Art and Soup event coming up April 16th, 1502 Cumming Street at the Omaha Design Center. There is a huge list of restaurants: Sage Student Bistro, Shucks, Kitchen Table, Upstream, Stirnella, Ono Pinay Kitchen, Rail Car, No More Empty Pots, Monarch, Le Voltaire, Herbe Sainte, Biaggi's, Big Mama's. My gosh, all this stuff. So what a cool deal. People trying to help people and connecting with food. Cool deal. And thank you for connecting with our show here on Saturday Omaha. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Our show is recorded and produced by Saturday Omaha. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as well as email SaturdayOmaha@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, and stay hungry.
Saturday Omaha.
Eat this.